Here we go, everybody. Let's cover the top 250 movies on IMDb. That's right. We're going to keep going the whole entire way until we get from 1 to 250. It's going to be a long time to get to all the way through, but we're getting there, lads. And in fact, very, very soon, we're doing 3 movies today. And before we get into them, we're not going in order. We're not going from 250 down to 1 or 1 to 250. We're shaking things up, lads, because what we're doing here is because I have both men and women following me. So the best way to do this is find movies, especially when I'm on Spotify, lads, for the YouTube episodes. I'm shifting around on the top 250 to find movies that are generic, both for women and men. So obviously, because different audiences, you got to shake it up. And then on YouTube, I'll be covering all movies, but mainly male movies. So anyway, today we're gonna go into 3 movies that you got to see, whether you're a man or a woman. Now this is in the top 250, and by the way, we're nearly there. We'll nearly have the first 25 done already. And when we do, we're going to be doing a full live stream. Everything's going to be put together in one. And we're going to do that from 1 to 25. We're going to do that from 1 to 50, 1 to 75, 1 to 100, etc., etc. It's going to be so much fun, lads. But today, I want to talk about Whiplash. Have you ever met someone so intense, so relentless, that they make you question everything about yourself? And someone who pushes you past the breaking point, like really pushes you, but you can't tell if they're building you up or just breaking you down for fun. Right? Because this is what happens in this movie. That is Whiplash, lads. And that's Terence Fletcher. And if you've ever had a terrifying coach, a brutal boss, or a teacher who made you feel like a speck of dust in the universe, this movie is going to hit you like a drumstick in the face, man. Now, let's get one thing straight about Whiplash. It ain't just a movie about jazz music. I mean, I have to admit, I wasn't into jazz until I actually started listening to this or watching this movie, lads. It kind of got me into it, I gotta admit. And it's a psychological thriller. It's disguised as a music film. That's really what it is. It's about the cost of greatness. How far would you go to be the best? How much abuse would you take? And what point do you break? That's the war happening in this film. You got the drummer Andrew, okay? He wants to be legendary. He wants to be one of the greats. And his conductor Fletcher is willing to destroy him to make it happen. And is it mentorship or is sadism? Is he crafting a genius, or is he just a little unhinged lunatic with a conductor's baton? This movie doesn't spoon-feed you answers. It throws you into the fire and dares you to find your own way out. Now, Andrew, played by Miles Teller, he's brilliant performance, you have to admit, is a talented, awkward music student. He's at the prestigious Schaefer Conservatory. And his life is drums. That's it. No friends, no distractions, just sticks and sweat. And then there's J.K. Simmons. Oh, man. And he won the Oscar, by the way, for this. And he deservedly so. Bald, black-clad, and as terrifying as a drill sergeant with metronome here. Like, the man just doesn't teach music. He commands music. He doesn't demand perfection. He expects it. And if you don't give it to him, well, let's just say he is a way of making you wish you were never born. So as the story progresses, lads, Andrew does finally make it into Fletcher's elite jazz band. Okay, things are kind of, looking up for him, or are they? Now that's when the real horror show starts. Believe me, this is nuts. You think music class is about playing instruments? Not here. This is boot camp, man. This is Full Metal Jacket with a brass section. It's the first rehearsal. Fletcher throws a chair at Andrew's head. He throws a chair at the young lad. What in God's name is he thinking? And he does it because he's, quote, rushing the tempo. I'm not giving away the whole movie here, by the way, lads. You really got to see this movie. Then he makes him repeat the same few bars of music until his hands literally bleed. This isn't teaching, this is psychological warfare. And here's the crazy part. Andrew doesn't quit. He doesn't walk away. No. He doubles down. He practices until his fingers are raw. His relationships crumble. His sanity frays. And because Fletcher has planted this poisonous little seed in his head, the idea that true greatness only comes from suffering, and you start to wonder, geez, is this guy right? Then comes the scene. I think you probably know the one if you've seen the movie, lads. Andrew gets into a car crash on the way to his big performance. We'll leave it there. We won't say any more about that part. I don't want to ruin it for you. And instead of going to hospital like a normal person, he tries to keep playing in the band. It's gone mental, man. That's how deep he's in. That's how far he's gone down the rabbit hole here. Of course, he doesn't do very well because he's completely out of it. You'll see what I mean. But Fletcher, he goes for him, man. He goes for him. And there's a fight that happens. And you don't blame Andrew for getting into the fight. Because in the final moments of the film, Fletcher, now fired from controversy, reaches out to Andrew for a second chance. And he invites him to play at a big jazz festival. Now again, lads, don't worry, I'm not giving away anything because you really have to see this movie to understand, oh, wow, I see what you mean. It seems like redemption until it doesn't end up being redemption. I'll just leave it at that. And he kind of sets up Andrew with the wrong music. And then that's when Andrew does the impossible. He finally lets go. He doesn't crumble. He doesn't run. He owns that stage, man. He drums like a man possessed, pushing himself to the absolute limit. And for the first time, Fletcher isn't breaking orders, man. He isn't controlling the moment. He just watches. And in that instant, they understand each other. A twisted, destructive bond, but a bond nonetheless. The movie ends mid-performance, no applause, no closure, just two men locked in a battle of wills, pushing each other beyond human limits. And here's the scary part, lads. I think we've all met a Fletcher in some way, shape, or form. Maybe even know him. Maybe he's your next door neighbor and you never saw him the way he opens up on these students. Maybe there's people out there like this. I think we all know this. That coach, that boss, that teacher who pushed you just too goddamn hard. Maybe they made you better. Maybe they broke you. Maybe both. Whiplash doesn't tell you if Fletcher's message are justified. It just shows you the cost. And greatness can be forged in pain, but at what price? And is it worth it? Personally, I think it is. You might think I'm a complete mental case for thinking that. But that's the question that Whiplash leaves you with. There's no right answer. Ladies and gentlemen, this movie, every time I watch that last scene, when Andrew becomes who he becomes, is a very, very exciting, a very gripping, compelling scene. You're just sucked in. Ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't recommend enough this movie, Whiplash. It is awesome.
Peter.
Wow.